exploding into AI. Here we go. Future fit outs of commercial properties done in seconds. We're going to talk to a godfather of fit outs. Stay tuned.
Good morning again.
Good morning, Billy. How are you?
I'm so excited. We've got Gary from LoftusFitout.au. He's the man changing the space. Wow.
Did you say Loftus or Lotus?
Loftus. What an intro.
Lotus.
Go the Lotus. Go the Lotus.
There you go.
Gary, thank you so much for coming on this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, we are exploring and deep diving into office fit outs, design, AI, floor planning, how the world has actually changed in this world. I'm going to very quickly just show you how the world used to design things. So they used to get behind a desk. There used to be guys in white jackets. They used to, and girls, they used to be in rows and rows and rows designing, buildings, designing roads, designing this is, I guess, CAD. Then was the next generation after this. But look, they all had those little sun visors on so they didn't get glare. They were laying down over floor plans. What do you reckon?
A fascinating story, Mark. I knew a guy who used to draft at a drafting table like that, and we're talking back in the 60s or 70s. And he told me a story where he was drawing a cooling tower. And a cooling tower is obviously round, and it's exactly the same as you go around the circumference. And he suddenly realized that instead of drawing the entire circle, the 360 degrees, all he had to draw was one pie, one wedge of it, and he was done. So where everyone else was still drawing their cooling towers, he was done in a quarter of the time because he drew a quarter of the tower. So even back then, people were looking for ways to save time, save money, get things done faster.
And now we've got an amazing thing called artificial intelligence, which is going to do stuff for you. To give you an idea, we've gone from something like this, which would take what we're designing. Well, we wouldn't even get the detail that we're designing, to a 3D walkthrough, which I'm going to show you briefly. And how many seconds will this take, Gary, to put together? What I'm just about to show people.
The actual AI generation takes minutes, but we typically say we'll turn it around in 24 hours because even though AI is doing the design for us right now, we want to add that human layer of just checking that it actually meets all the criteria that it needs to meet before we pump out this 3D virtual tour that you're about to show now.
So this can be done in minutes. That blows my mind.
That's pretty cool.
Now, as you know, Mark, that's only a small space there. So, a 200 square meter space could be drawn by a human designer relatively quickly. But what happens when you're talking about multi-level floors and you're talking about 10,000 square meters for an Ernst & Young or a PwC? That is literally hundreds of hours of design work to get that right. Whereas these AI tools are able to pump that out in minutes to a number of hours and it's done. Again, still needs that human layer over it to check that everything is working, that's done correctly. But you get that brute force of getting these plans returned very, very quickly, helping people who are making decisions about leasing to make those decisions very quickly, saving a lot of time.
Yeah.
Think about the cost of stuff ups. So we've gone from these guys laying on these plans, going designing stuff and pouring over a table and giving it to the customer, and in black and white, to what we're now doing with AI, what you're now doing with AI, which is a complete submersive virtual walkthrough. I would have thought that that's going to save like hundreds and billions in stuff ups, because you're like, as you walk through, you're like, yeah, no, I don't like it, change it, rather than physically building it, walking through and changing it.
Yeah, it's you're 100% right there, because you're getting to see what that space is going to look and feel like, without having to build a single thing. And that's where the real savings are. Is you can make changes to those walkthroughs and make things look and appear the way you want them to appear, and then turn that from the abstract AI design, if you like, to the actual reality.
I can just see these being used everywhere as well. How good to have on hand to a potential client that wants to rent the space, not sure what they want to do with it.
Yep.
Just give you so many ideas. Can I ask you a quick question? Is there anything that's the same about the old and the new way? As in, is the process the same? The starting point and the finishing point? Is there any?
Yeah, I think 100%. What remains the same is what the client wants, right? That's what everything is always about, is what does the client who is going to use that space want? So recording the brief and learning what they want to do with the space is the exact same process. Nothing changes there. However, if you have someone who's not 100% sure of how they want to use the space, so I'm talking here of a landlord, for example, who wants to do a speculative fit out, with what we do, we can generate 3 different plans in that same time frame. And we can generate more if needed. But where you've got, say, 300 square meter space, and they're not exactly sure what they can fit in and how they can fit in, just let the AI bot run its course, and it'll spit out 3 very different, unique plans of that space. So there's a bit of a change up there, I guess.
Amazing. And how does it work? Do you need to send a little robot through the office and it takes photos?
No,
what do you do?
not at all. The only thing we need to throw into the AI bot, if you like, is a PDF plan of the space. What really helps is if we've got some photos of internal, because it will use those photos to generate the facade of the building. But yeah, all we need is a PDF plan, and an idea of how many square meters that plan is, so that we can scale it up or scale it down if it's not to scale. And that's it. 24 hours later, you get your 3 plans and a virtual tour.
Brilliant.
What you may have missed in that video, guys and girls, if you watched, was that view was a real view. So a real view. We took a photo of the real view, and then it joined that into the video.
Yeah, Mark, it's a good pickup there as well. This technology is evolving very quickly as well, and the most recent one that we've done for Novak Properties, which I think you're going to receive this afternoon, which is 7 Rodborough Road, those commercial spaces. You can actually select different views out of different windows. So, we've got 4 different views out of one of those properties, and I've selected a different view out of each window of that property.
So
if you've just tuned in, guys and girls, we're talking about the future of real estate with AI when it comes to the design process in commercial. And Gary, how long have you been doing fit outs for?
Been doing fit outs since 2001, when I first drew my first design and built the first fit out was back in 2001.
Yeah, wow. Now, you told us a little story before we came on air, which I think that as soon as you say AI, people freak about job loss. You told us a real life example with Schwarzkowski.
Daniel Swarovski and Co., which your listeners and viewers might recognize as the crystal guys. You get the funny little crystal animals that get sold in the shops, and they've evolved, and they now do jewelry and architecture and all sorts of things. But where that company got its start was back in Bohemia in, I'm going to say, about 1875. around that era, you had guys creating crystals by lying on their stomachs, similarly to what we saw there with the architects. And there was a sanding belt in front of them, and they would use a piece of lead crystal and polish all the facets by hand. So they were producing maybe 1 to 2 crystals per day. Daniel Swarovski, what he figured out was how to automate that process and turn it into a machine. And so he moved his company from Bohemia to a small town in Austria because it was so secretive what he was doing. But instead of suddenly these guys all losing their jobs, they all had to learn how to service these machines and work these machines. And back when I worked for Swarovski back in 2000, they had over 10,000 employees around the world and were producing in the hundreds of millions of crystals. So the idea that AI is going to take our jobs is something I think we need to transform in our minds and recognize that it's actually just going to elevate us to be able to work on higher level tasks rather than the mundane and the ordinary.
I love that.
Well said. Well said. I've got a quick question going back to the AI stuff that we've just seen. What does that stuff cost if you're a small business owner and you want some ideas?
Look, we're doing that at the moment with our leasing agent friends in the marketplace at a very low rate, simply to get this technology out into the open. But if we were approached by a landlord who said we'd like to do an AI generated plan and a virtual tour, the cost is as low as $5 per square meter.
Wow. So you'd be, yeah, I mean, that's so affordable to get some ideas. You'd be crazy.
Yeah, just to,
you know,
I think so.
Getting someone else in and start drawing things for you, you know, that seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah. And again, to make sure that people aren't feeling like this technology is going to take designers' jobs away. It's not. I think what it does is provide that first layer of planning so you can very quickly make decisions on properties, on layouts, and then hand over to a human designer who's going to add that level of detail in that currently we don't offer. You know, when it comes to finishes selections, color selections, refining the design so that really is what the client wants at the end of the day. So there's just the ability to work on more properties more quickly.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I can't help but to relate this back to real estate when the volume I was doing when I was 18, 19, 20, 21. And if I replicate those sort of volumes today and the actual labor needed with all of the technology of, email, web, AI and all that, it's we've got more people working doing that process of selling a property. So it's I sort of don't feel threatened by the old AI because it seems that we end up just developing a better quality product, not replacing jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the positives is that it creates abundance. And relating to what we're talking today, instead of having one design, maybe two designs, you can have as many as you like, as quickly as you like. So it creates this abundance of information and an ability to make better choices quicker. So yeah, 100%. I don't think anyone should view it as taking anyone's livelihood away, rather elevating us to be able to work on higher level questions.
So boys, before we go, what are the takeouts from AI generated office designs for leasing? What are your takeouts?
Gary?
Billy, I'll go first. Look, for me, the takeout is speed, the speed that we can get things done at, and the accuracy, and again, the volume, the number of designs that we can do. So if you're a leasing agent out there or a landlord who is promoting a space and wants to entice people to come and look at this space, one of the best ways you can do that is by giving them a virtual tour, gives them an idea of what they're going to see before they get there, and increases your chance of leasing that space.
Absolutely. I think the affordability is the big part of that as well. The options and the possibilities for so many different people to get into a space without knowing that they might be able to. That's what excites me.
And my nugget is you're not doing the wrong in your fit out. There's more chance of getting things right in your fit out when you got AI generated office leasing designs.
There you
100%.
go.
All right,
Really
guys. On that note, Gary, thank you very, very much for coming in. We're going to roll out on the old-fashioned days, and then we're going to roll out on the video you've done on an incredible office design for us, which took minutes or seconds. Thank you so much for coming in, and you can go to Gary's website and look him up if you need his help with the floor plan. Even so, mostly commercial, but would you do a little bit of residential if you're asked?
We're not at the point where we can do resi, I'm afraid, Mark. It's really the bot that we're using is specific to office fit out. We can do an empty room for you if you just want to see a room and see how that looks and feels. But at the moment, it's more restricted to office fit outs when it comes to that 3D virtual tour.
All right, so we're rolling out, legend. Thank you so much, Gary, for
Thank
coming
you.
on to
Thanks
the
for having
show.
me.
And
See you
let's go over to some old-fashioned designers doing stuff. There you go. Then CAD came, and then Gary came with this. Take care, Gary. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
There you are.
See ya.
Bye.